Hey guys, what's going on? It is Broken Nose Vlogs here. Now if you notice the background here, this is not normally a place I record. As a matter of fact, you may recognize it from the location where I did that time lapse on the first attempt of the AMD build. It's towards the back of the house. It's a little bit quieter, and the reason why I'm back here is because we are in the middle of a heat wave again. There has been a heat advisory issued. That means that there are a lot of fans and air conditioners on right now in this house to keep my dogs cool. Downside is it's hard to record videos with those sounds in the background, so I decided to move back here. Is it the coolest place in the house? Absolutely not. But at least I can record and I don't have to worry about fighting with sound. So we have an RTX 2070 with binned chips from Zotac. I paid about $180 for this card, which may be a little bit more than I should have paid for it, but it does come with a 90-day money-back guarantee / warranty. I did not buy this off of eBay, I did not buy it from OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace. I bought this from Newegg. Now this is a Newegg Refreshed video card, which from what I read on the ad means that it was taken in, it was inspected by Newegg, and then either Newegg, a closely vetted seller / refurbisher who works with Newegg, or the manufacturer refurbishes the card to factory specs and then they resell the card. Now I usually don't buy refurbished / used / open box from Newegg because there have been plenty of horror stories and issues that I have read or watched concerning this sort of thing, where people can't return the item if it's not what they need or if it doesn't work, or B, they come damaged and it becomes very difficult to return the item if you can at all. This particular card comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee / warranty, so if for some reason this card doesn't work, it looks like I can return it. Anyways, in the advertisement it said it doesn't come with really anything, just the card itself, maybe some power cables, but like basically any and all accessories are not included with this card if it had any. So let's go ahead and we'll open this box up and see what's inside. It does feel like there is another box inside of it, so I'm fairly curious about how this is packed. I was kind of expecting it just to be in an anti-static bag with a bunch of, filler stuff like that, but let's go ahead and we'll crack it open and take a look. Alright, so I've cut the tape open, the security tape as it says here. You may be at an alternate angle now because we'll be looking kind of into the box and seeing what we have as we open it here. And I would just want to get you guys a better view. But we'll go ahead and we'll open this up. So, looks like we still have some foam wall padding, which is surprising. But this does look fairly well packed. But we now have what I was expecting in the, final here. The anti-static bag. And we'll take the graphics card out. This is a heavy guy. But it doesn't look like we have anything else. So they did not include any accessories, which is fine because we don't really need them. The 20 series does not use, 12-volt high power or anything like that. It is just your standard PCI Express power connectors. So here is our 2070. This is pretty big for a 20 series card. Then again, I actually don't have a lot of reference, if any at all, because I have never handled a 20 series card until now. So this 2070 is actually going to go into the AMD build. I'm going to move the 1070 to the white Asus build. So let's go ahead and we'll take this guy out of its anti-static bag. Whew, this is a fairly big card. Now, does it have the blow through like some of our other cards do? It does not, but this does look fairly clean. I do not see any sort of weirdness with it. You have your power cable connectors up here. You have one 8-pin and one 6-pin, which is fine. Your back plate is definitely metal. Interestingly enough, there is a that's actually kind of funny. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but you do have a PCI Express protector on here. Ironically, it says MSI on it. This is not an MSI card. You know, there looks like there's a slight bend back here. That may or may not be intentional, but the back plate goes pretty straight until you get to the very end, and then it kind of presses in. The fin stack for the cooler seems to be pretty good. I don't see any debris or dust. There does look like some thermal pads in here as well. The thermal pads look fairly new, so they may have popped off this cooler and replaced the thermal pads. I'm gonna bust out my flashlight here and we'll just kind of take a look and see if there's any weird marks or anything like that. Doesn't look like it. The fans look like they're in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of superficial scratching here and there on the plastic fan shroud. Not really worried about that, but I don't really see any serious issues. Everything looks pretty clean. I can't really fault here so far. Everything looks pretty good. Like I said, the thermal pads look new, so it looks like they may have repasted this as well. It'll be interesting to find out. And then if we look at the backside here, we actually, wow, we actually have 1, 2, 3 display ports, what looks like to be a USB-C and 1 HDMI port. Everything but the USB-C port has a protector inside of it, which is also fairly interesting. I mean, overall, this looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty impressed for $180. I, was expecting less, to be honest. Yeah, I'm actually fairly impressed. The next step would be to get this set up in the AMD build in the NZXT H440, plug it in and see what happens. So let's go ahead and we'll do that next. So there you have it. I have finished building inside of this red and black AMD build. This will probably be the last time I crack it open and put something inside of it. The 2070 went in with a little bit of help. When I first installed it, and I don't think I showed the footage, but I can show it here. When I first put the 2070 in, I actually thought it was not going to fit, and that is because the 440's drive setup, it's basically like a stack of drives off to one side. The graphics card will fit if you don't have the drive sleds where the graphics card goes. I just so happened to put the drive sleds where the graphics card needed to go. So I was sitting here like, oh man, this case is big. Why is this card not fitting? Granted, this is the first time I've ever had a 20 series card. And I mean, it does feel fairly long. It's a triple fan GPU. I mean, I feel like it might be longer than my 4070, or maybe it's just because of the way the 440's tower is set up and it has those drives off to the side. But it felt like I was actually not going to be able to get it to fit in there. But I managed to get it to fit. It plugged in, it worked just fine. The RGB was turned off. At first I thought maybe it was a power problem, but I opened up the Zotac software and it worked just fine. And hopefully this is the last time I really work on this computer. Granted, at this point, this computer is entirely overkill for what I'm going to use it for. This is going to be for Stepmania mostly, but I have a 8-core processor and a mid-tier, 70 series graphics card, granted from a few generations ago, but it's no slouch. As a matter of fact, I'll talk about the benchmarks in a minute, but I will say this is way more than what I need for a Stepmania machine. It could basically double as a backup gaming rig if for some reason I had some sort of issue with my main blue rig. The only real big discrepancy between the two is that the storage on the red computer is not nearly as much as I have on my blue PC. I also did do some other modifications while I had both PCs open. If you notice in the footage, the CPU cooler, which was a Thermalright, it now has a Noctua fan on there instead of the default Thermalright fan. The Thermalright fan's just not quite as powerful as I'd like it to be, so I ended up going with one of those Noctua Reduxes, which they work just fine. And I also installed a 120mm fan on the top of the white PC, just so it had extra airflow coming in from the top directly to the CPU cooler. The 3 fans on the front are A, Molex powered, so they are 1 speed. B, there's a piece of tempered glass in front, and then there's just vents to the left and right, very similar to an NZXT case. So I figured I would try to help out the airflow just a little bit. So now I technically have like 4 fans on the intake side and 1 on the exhaust side. Granted, I feel like those 3 fans are probably kneecapped a little bit by the aesthetic decision of having a piece of tempered glass in the front of it. Speaking of the white PC though, I installed the GTX 1070 to that. It took it just fine, just had to bring up one single 8-pin PCI power connector. Now, I of course did benchmarks on both the PCs. I ran a more limited 3D Mark run on the 1070 because we've already kind of seen the specs for that. And then I did kind of a full suite of benchmarks on the 2070 because this is the first 20 series card I've ever owned. And I kind of wanted to see how it would do, especially in things like ray tracing, because I know 20 series cards being the first generation of ray tracing, I've been told they're not that great. But I will show the benchmarks here in just a moment. Now, I don't know if it's because it's such an unlikely pairing to have a 5700X and a 2070, or if my scores were actually just that good, but I had quite a few high scores when it came to my 3D Mark benchmarks. And I will go ahead and I'll show you the benchmarks for both systems really quick. Like I said, the 1070 is going to be a little bit more limited than the 2070, but here are those benchmarks. And as you can see, I feel like this is probably a pretty unlikely pairing in both scenarios. I don't think a 12100F is going to really be seen with a 1070. They're pretty far apart. And the 5700X and the 2070, I don't know why I feel like that's a really unlikely pairing. Again, it might just be the differentiations in time,
the 30 series was well out when the 5700X came out. And I know I've said in previous videos that the 10 series is going to have their support dropped as of July. Turns out I was wrong. I've actually read and watched some things that stated that the 10 series cards are actually going to be supported till about October of 2025, which coincides with the official discontinuation of Windows 10. So it looks like NVIDIA is going to sort of just wind down support around the same time as they wind down support for Windows 10 on Microsoft's side. So if you have a 10 series card, keep your eyes open. You still may get some driver support in these coming months. And that just kind of sums up everything. You know, this was more about kind of taking a look at my 20 series card that I got from Newegg, and I will kind of wrap it up full circle and talk about that because that was the original point of this video. I am fairly impressed with this Newegg Refreshed, refurbished video card. I don't think I was expecting what I got. In the back of my mind, for some reason, I thought I was going to get something that may just be a little janky. And I don't know if it's just because the things that have been brought to light when it comes to like Newegg's open box issues and stuff like that, which I believe they have corrected. But in the back of my head, I was just like, man, you know, 180 bucks for this graphics card. Is it even gonna work? Is it gonna be toast? Is it gonna be just they, you know, turned it on to see if it turns on and just boxed it or what? But they did a good job. I don't know if it was refurbished from Zotac or a third-party refurbisher, but everything looks good. After my usage with it, I would say if you're on the fence, I would go for it. I don't see any major problems. Granted, I have bought one whole video card, and there are definitely reviews on Newegg that say, like, hey, I got this card and it was dusty. The fans are loud. There's a lot of coil whine. I don't know if I can fault Newegg for the coil whine, but, you know, dirty, dusty cards, I could see that, you know, they should have taken better care of it. Anyways, I do hope you guys found this informative if you were curious about the Newegg refreshed graphics cards. Hope you enjoyed the video otherwise, and hopefully I will see you guys in another video fairly soon. But until then, take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.